Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Damien's Midweek Markets, the show where I talk about what's been going on in investment markets and what to look out for in the days and weeks ahead. Now, it's been 2 weeks since the last show, but the market narrative remains largely the same, with a focus on inflation expectations and central bank monetary policy. Now, there are still lingering concerns that the US and the UK economic growth rates are reaching their peak, and that could see a slowdown in economic growth coupled with higher inflation, known as stagflation, that could impact equity markets. But on top of this, there's been rising numbers of Delta variant cases, which are starting to weigh on equity markets. Now, these concerns are still best illustrated with the market's obsessive following of the 10-year US Treasury yield. Now, the last time I did this show, I suggested that the 10-year US Treasury yield remained a bit of an enigma to many, with a consensus view that the yield should be much higher than where it was. Now, we were in a position where either the bond market was too pessimistic, if you recall, or the equity market too optimistic about the economic recovery in the US. Either way, it felt like that one of them was going to experience some pain ahead. Now, in the last 2 weeks, we've seen bond markets move. 2 weeks ago, the 10-year US Treasury yield hit a low of 1.17%. But suddenly it exploded higher to 1.375%. Now, don't forget that when bond yields rise, it means that the price of those bonds fall, which is also to the benefit of equity markets. Now, the S&P 500 broke convincingly above the key level of 4,400 that I told you to keep an eye on last time, putting 4,500 firmly in the sight of investors. But we haven't hit that high yet. But there has been signs of optimism. Now, looking beneath the index level of equity markets and focusing on the sector performances themselves, we saw a familiar pattern whereby reflation trade assets benefited, most notably financial stocks, from a burst higher in the yield. So we burst from the lows of 1.17% 2 weeks ago up to around about 1.375%. Now, this was at the expense of technology stocks. Now, whether the reflation trade can reignite from here, because after all, it has actually fallen almost flat on its face and started to reverse in the last couple of months, depends very much on where the 10-year US Treasury yield continues to go. Does it go higher or will it go lower? Now, in my newsletter to 80/20 investor members last week, I pointed out that despite the consensus view being that the 10-year US Treasury yield would continue to break higher from that point, I highlighted that from a technical analysis perspective, the downtrend in bond yields was still intact. When I'm talking about the downtrend, I'm talking about from May, remained intact. And coincidentally, we saw an abrupt collapse in the 10-year US Treasury yield right at the top of that downtrend. So when we hit up to around about 1.37%, the bond yields collapsed, and that was mostly on the back of some poor economic data, and the yield collapsed and fell down towards about 1.2%, which gave reflation trades beneficiaries and sectors an absolute hammering along the way. Now, the cause of this rush for bonds was laid at the doors of rising Delta cases and weakening expected economic data, but we are once again back in that downtrend for bond yields, at least for the short term. So I suppose the next thing is to think about is what should we be watching in the next weeks and days and weeks ahead on the 10-year US Treasury yield. If we break higher, probably above 1.36%, then that will be a boost for the reflation trade assets and cyclical sectors in equity markets, at least in the short term. If we break lower, it should be beneficial for growth stocks and things like technology stocks and REITs, that's real estate investment trusts. So keep an eye on 1.17% because that has been the recent low on the 10-year US Treasury yield. If we break below that, then things could start to unravel. But we could obviously, it's been a strong support level in the last couple of weeks. We could see the market, or the 10-year US Treasury yield, I should say, bounce higher. Ultimately, in the last couple of weeks, what we've seen, investors rotate in and out of assets and equity sectors based on the volatile day-to-day moves in that 10-year US Treasury yield. Now, there is a sense that investors are chasing their own tails at times in the absence of any guidance from central banks, because the Bank of England and the US Federal Reserve aren't scheduled to deliver their next monetary policy decisions until the end of September, which puts more focus on the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium next weekend. So that is an event which sees central bankers, academics and economists from around the world come together in Kansas to discuss economic issues, policy options, and there's always the ability or the likelihood of a misplaced view or comment from a central banker that could move markets. So make sure you keep an eye on that and be aware, because there won't be a midweek market show next week. But in 2 weeks' time, we'll actually see if there's been any fallout of that meeting. However, having said all of this, if we ignore the day-to-day market moves and zoom right out, where we are at the moment, our bond yields are largely in a downtrend that started in May. That's still the case. And key Western stock markets are still in an uptrend. Since my last show, we've seen new all-time highs on the S&P 500, for example, the Dow Jones, the FTSE 250, and the German DAX. Now, in all of these markets, we are starting to see tentative signs of improving breadth, as well as sector rotations, which often are the lifeblood of bull markets. But if you go below the sector level, there are many individual stocks that are hitting new 52-week lows, which is akin to the slow motion correction we've seen in something like Japanese equities. So if you recall in a recent episode of this show, I talked about how Japanese equities have been in a pretty much slow motion correction and had fallen more than 10% from their February highs. Now, Asian equity markets remain weak at the moment, but if you look beyond the index level of key Western markets, you will see there are stocks that are doing the same thing. So we're seeing a lot of movements below the index level. But as my research note for 8020 investor members last week stated, and based upon a previous research article that I wrote, new all-time highs in the major indices aren't something to be feared, but something to be welcomed, as they are actually a bullish sign. But that doesn't mean that the equity markets can't crash. Indeed, the chances increase if we don't see more and more stocks making new highs compared to the number making new lows. So we need to see that improvement in breadth. So there's a lot going on in markets at the moment. The narrative is remaining the same, the obsession on the 10-year US Treasury yield, the outlook for inflation, but also concerns about future economic growth around the world. So that is it for this week on Damien's Midweek Markets. As ever, you can contact me via email. Damien@moneytothemasses.com is the email address. You can contact me via Twitter, Money to the Masses with the number 2. Instagram, of course, you can find us on Facebook in our Facebook group. You can find the group at facebook.com/group/money to the masses. We're on TikTok, but most of all, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.